All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to get started in one more minute. All right. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MVLS's third Thursday training. My name is Asia Mallory. I am the consumer staff attorney at MVLS, and I also have with me Susan Lurch, who is the managing attorney for CPP at Pro Bono Resource Center. Today, we're just going to talk about affidavit judgments and our collective, the Consumer Protection Project clinic that we host on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So just generally speaking, affidavit judgments is just when a creditor can file a few documents in court that they believe proves that a defendant owes money or owes the creditor a specific amount of money. When the defendant receives like the summons and complaint, at the bottom of the summons, there is a notice of intention to defend in which defendants have 15 days to file that back to the district court. If the defendant has not filed a notice of intention to defend, a judge will review the documents to see if the creditor has provided everything that is adequate to show that the defendant in fact owes the money to the plaintiff. If the documents are adequate, the judge will rule in the plaintiff's favor. If the documents are not adequate or inadequate, the judge will deny the request and will set the case for trial. Typically, affidavit judgment dockets are in Baltimore City. It is held every Tuesday and Wednesday. In the other counties that there are affidavit judgment dockets, there can be a mix. So in Baltimore County, the affidavit judgment docket is almost every day. They just mix it in with their general docket. Other counties have a specific day in which they will hold their affidavit judgment docket. Essentially, the docket has been created to give defendants their last opportunity to dispute that they owe the debt. It's their time to, if they don't understand the summons, it's their time to come in front of the judge and explain why they do not owe the amount that has been claimed, or it's their last time to explain why they are disputing some of the facts alleged in their file. Some of the complications that arise out of this affidavit judgment docket is that the fact that a lot of defendants come to court confused about what the affidavit judgment docket is. They are confused about some of the summons and complaints or documents that they received from the plaintiff's creditor. Because creditors are not required to appear, defendants don't actually know who they are supposed to call or contact to make payments if they want to set up a payment arrangement. They don't have someone they can talk to that they are able to ask questions from. So that is why the Consumer Protection Project was created. The judiciary definitely advocated for this project because as the judges were on the bench, Susan, did you have something to add? Oh, okay. The judiciary advocated for the project because while on the bench, they were getting asked a lot of questions that they were unable to answer. And they saw that the defendants had a lot of issues, or there were a lot of issues within their cases that they could not provide legal advice to. So they, at the request of the judiciary, PBRC and MVLS both provide limited scope day of court services to consumers in Baltimore City's district court. MVLS covers Tuesdays, PBRC covers Wednesdays. The need for CPP, one, is because debt collectors extract five times more judgments out of Black and brown communities. Baltimore City is a predominantly Black city, so we see a lot of clients with massive judgments on them. Garnishments on their bank accounts can also be troubling for them. Additionally, we see specifically at MVLS, our clients often get harassed by creditors at twice the rate than any other ethnicities, even though default rates or late payment rates are similar across the board. Here with our clients, we have seen that default judgments are entered in nearly 70% of cases, which to us indicates a lack of response from defendants, but that tells us more so that there are concerns about either the defendants don't understand the court process, they're not receiving, the documents to their homes, there is issues probably with service and proper notice. So that's essentially why the Consumer Protection Project was created, and why it is needed, and why we are there every Tuesday and Wednesday to speak to the defendants that show up for this docket. So at the Consumer Protection Project, the case types that we will take at MVLS include debt buyers, credit cards, landlord tenant, auto repossession, and bail bonds cases. PBRC takes debt buyers, credit cards, and landlord tenant cases, but I think they refer out their landlord tenant cases to civil justice, if that is correct, Susan.
That is correct.
Okay. And so while we are, in consultation with the defendants, we will also help them with the case that they are currently being sued on the affidavit judgment docket. But we also sit there and we also provide, some other resources and information to these clients as well. We try to connect the clients to other partner organizations to try to do a more holistic legal service for them, even though we cannot, assist them in the 10 to 15 minutes that we have with them in the district court. The other thing is, why should you all volunteer with the Consumer Protection Clinic? So I had a volunteer named Elva Tillman who used to volunteer with us every Tuesday. And in her own words, she said, volunteering with the Consumer Protection Clinic, you will get exposure, you will get experience, and you will receive satisfaction. So in her words, she said to volunteer with the Consumer Protection Clinic is a win-win situation. You help so many people who really need the help, and you gain a lot more experience, exposure, and you will have a good feeling that will enhance you forever. So at this time, I will allow Susan to come in with any of her comments that she may have.
Thanks, Asia. So the only thing I did want to add is when you do volunteer with PBRC, Asia will post some information on this presentation about how to be in touch with us if you'd like to volunteer with us. There is a training, an online training that you would do, and sometimes volunteers would like to shadow a time or two before they actually start to take cases, which is fine. We're there to support you. There'll be an attorney with you. We're not just going to kind of push a new volunteer right into court until they feel that they're ready to do that. So we are there to support you, and often somebody will shadow with me once, and then maybe the next time they'll take one on their own, and I'll kind of sit with them, and then maybe the third time they'll do something on their own when they're ready. So I know sometimes people get a little bit worried about what's expected. So I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that we would be there to support you.
Thank you, Susan. If you all have any questions, you can feel free to put the questions in the chat box or in the question and answers box, and I will be free to answer them. Or if Susan, if you can answer any questions, you can feel free to answer those as well. While I am waiting to see if there's any questions, I will also let you know that MVLS has upcoming trainings. We have the Discharging Student Loans in Bankruptcy. Of course, April 27th is our spring benefit for A Taste for Pro Bono. And then in May, we have overdose prevention sites as a method of exploitation and violence prevention with our Human Trafficking Prevention Project. Make sure to also follow MVLS on their social media platforms. And if you need any resources or information about MVLS or like our resources, you can always go to our pro bono portal or our website for all of that information. I do not see any questions in the chat. So I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Susan, for